I'm sitting in a car that I never thought I would own. It's a Nissan Skyline.
And not just any Skyline, the 370 GT. This is arguably the most overlooked and slept on car in the whole Skyline range.
But there's a catch.
Nissan never exported these Skylines, so if you wanted to own one, you'd have to go to Japan. Unless somebody decided they were going to buy one in Japan, import it back to the UK, pay the import tax duty, register it as a newly imported car with a DVLA, pay the fees, get a UK MOT, then drive for 6 months, crash it into a barrier, claim on the insurance, and then sell it to Copart, who would take lovely photos of it and sell it to me for a little over £5,000. And thankfully for me, someone did. However,
It looks like this.
says non-structural.
All the buttons are still in Japanese.
Dash blown.
Which is actually, like, bad.
Finding parts for this car is going to be a real challenge. And as you'll find out in this video, this is going to be a much bigger project than I first
That should
thought.
be mounted to in there. The subframe, it's cracked.
That's not great. Big learning curve. But there's only one way to learn, and that's to dive straight in and find out what happens. Let's get on with it. Before we start to do anything on this car,
Foot on the brake.
I need to make sure that the engine starts and runs without any issues.
You can do it. Yeah!
In fact, it already sounds pretty good. So that's a good start, and let's carry that on with a list of good points about the 370 GT. We've got Japan's largest spoiler, Enki wheels with proper tyres on all of them, some kind of exhaust system, and then inside it's virtually new. 69,000 kilometres. It's clearly been looked after.
Momentum 99.
And an unexpected bonus item.
DPD.
Worth it. Now, the bad points. And there are quite a few. It is worse than advertised, in my opinion. None of that's connected. Like, none of it is connected to anything. Obviously the wheel is fully perished. You can see daylight through that.
It's folded all this back, created sharp edges over there. It's so much better and so much worse than I ever imagined. We've got a lot to do on this car. Regardless, it's going to be another amazing journey. So stick around.
And let's cut to me 4 weeks later with a questionable moustache. This car has been sat in the other side of my unit for about 4 or 5 weeks now, and I told myself I am not going to start on this car until the Subaru is fixed. And as you'll know from the previous video, if you haven't seen it, go and watch it right here. You'll see that the Subaru Impreza is not only fixed, but badass. So that means I can finally start working on this. Without any further ado, it's time to start doing the thing that I've been putting off for the last 5 weeks, which is taking apart this front end and seeing the full extent of the damage, how far it goes back, how much it's pushed the body up, whether it's chassis damage or whether it's just hopefully body panels. But we're starting fresh with this one. No progress at all so far. So let's just dive straight in and see how bad the damage is. Let's go. Let's start by taking the wheel off. And it's fair to say it's probably not usable again. Well, that's the end of that. Now I'm taking off the front splitter and the arch lining to expose the inside of the arch so we can see the extent of the damage behind the hub.
This is part of the subframe, and that looks to be in place. This has not moved. This is the main chassis leg. Now this part has moved. So that's come away from it. You can see where there's a break in the coating, the wax oil or whatever it is, the sealer that they've used. I mean, none of it's great news, but that is better news than it could have been. How far back does it extend to? That's another question. We need to get this wing off. Right, next job, wing.
Now's a good time to point out that if I seem a bit clueless about all this, it's because I kind of am. I am not a mechanic. I'm just a guy who sees cars that he likes, can't afford to buy a new one, and love the challenge of rebuilding cars on a budget. If that sounds like the kind of thing you're into, then make sure you click subscribe to keep up with this and all the other projects on the channel, and it's completely free to do. As you can see,
That's done it.
I need all the help I can get.
One wing.
Cheers.
Off. It's better already.
With that panel off, it's not that bad. So obviously this whole panel is crumpled, this whole top arm here, but that's not, from what I understand, that's not structural.
it looks as though this panel's unaffected. This top piece, yeah, definitely. This arch lining type thing, metal arch piece, needs taking out and obviously doing. That should be mounted to in there, and that's come out. Spring's fine. On this side we've got the, I think that's what you call the drop link. That's come out of there, because that's obviously sitting, well, just completely in the wrong place. And then, wow. Wow. So this is supposed to be housed in this, and hopefully you can see on this, look, it's cracked through the subframe. I think the wheel's gone up and through here, crumpled this bit here up that way, and not necessarily this way or that way, which would have gone into the chassis, which would have been way, way worse. But if we can get this area sorted out, get a proper wheel on it, then we can get it on a trailer, and then we can get it over to Conrad and the bits that he needs. All in all, not too bad. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to take as much off as possible. I'm going to take these bonnet brackets off so we can remove the bonnet and start stripping apart this whole assembly. I'm taking off the bonnet first, so that way we've got more access to assess the damage from the engine bay side. Once that's off, it's time to take off the lower control arm, the wheel hub, and that whole suspension assembly. Now this could be fairly straightforward, because it's not held on by that, because that's snapped out of the case in the subframe. It's just ripped itself out. So it's only held on by this tie rod. I'll try and take it off there on this ball joint, and then disconnect the strut tower from the top, from these bolts up here. And then I should be able to take the whole assembly off. So let's crack these last two bolts now. First, I'm using some pliers to take the split pin out. Now that that's gone, I think it's a 14mm socket. Couple of taps, and it's out. The only way this whole thing is attached now is by this suspension strut. 312s. There we go. Unclip that. Pull that over the top. Brake line's clear. The whole unit off. So you can see how this piece here used to belong to the subframe, and it's just sheared completely off. It's just absolutely ripped out this whole piece here, so we can figure out how to replace that. Thankfully, I gambled on this and saw an item on eBay, and this is it. A full front subframe for a Nissan Skyline 370 GT. So it's got everything. We need to get an engine hoist to like hold the engine up, jack the car up in the air, take the old subframe down, disconnect all this on both sides on the car, put the subframe into place. This is our solution. Great.
The next day.
I want to get straight onto it this morning and start taking this car apart piece by piece by piece. I feel like this is time-lapse territory. So time-lapse in 3, 2, 1.
I'm stripping down everything I possibly can, starting with the battery. To access the subframe, I need to take off the bumper and the crash bar, and ideally the front radiator.
Cable tie these.
But he's here, ready to help whenever he's needed. Now let's remove this crash bar. These next clips are from a couple of weeks afterwards. I'd had time to really assess and think about what the best course of action was for making the damaged parts accessible so we can get a good quality weld and repair. And also, the mustache is gone. Forever. So, it's looking like the easiest thing to do all round is take the engine out. You should be able to come out through the front, because all that comes off is just a crash bar and a radiator. Once that engine's out, subframe can go on, we can rebuild all this end here to get a wheel on it, to get it on a trailer, to take it to Conrad to have this new piece welded on. Then when it comes back, it'll be a straight shell but no engine, and then we could just put the engine back in. And then in theory it will be all completely fixed. In theory. So I'm taking the airbox off to see what we're working with, where the welding needs to be done.
But as you can see down there isn't a huge amount of room to work. In fact, there is no room to work down there at all. We're making decent progress, but I really want to get this radiator and AC out. Apparently legally you cannot discharge Freon into the atmosphere because it's harmful to the ozone layer gas.
What would be worse for the environment, really, would be binning this car, scrapping it and sending it to landfill. And at the moment, you can very much see why someone would do that. Anyway, let's just carry on with stripping this apart.
It looks like we're taking the engine out. First I'm going to drain the coolant so I can take the radiator off. And it looks virtually new.
It's a gusher.
Then I'm draining the oil.
Let's drop the oil.
Just as a matter of course, because I'm going to do an oil change anyway.
Beautiful.
By now, it's pretty obvious that I've never taken an engine out before, so I'm just doing what I think is right at this point.
Looks like we're going to have to figure out a different way to get this aircon gas out, because... And there is aircon gas still in there. Good old Steve from the garage down the road, the guys who did the MOT on the Subaru, he's got a machine that you can plug into there and it'll suck all the Freon out. So while I wait for Steve to come, is this wiring harness. Apparently you don't have to undo every single little sensor and every single little clip because they all go to this wiring harness, from what I understand, which runs all the way down into there and into the glove box.
As I said, the ECU connections are behind the glove box. So, out with the ECU plugs. And all the time, I'm trying to remember to write as many notes as possible, because it's one thing taking an engine out, but it's a whole different thing putting it back in again. This was much more straightforward than I expected. And eventually...
ECU harness out. Is it just me or does that make a really nice sound? No, it's just me. All right. Hey up. Good welcome. All right.
Steve literally put his AC recycling machine in his van, drove it down the road to help me out today. Make sure you go check him out if you're in the area.
What an absolute legend Steve is. Drained all of the aircon unit. He's also said that when the car's back on the road, I can just take it to him and he'll put the aircon fluid right back in. What a legend. Steve, you're a legend. Let's try and get these aircon lines off now.
And right on time, my friend Tash turned up with a much needed coffee. But it wasn't long until I put her to work taking the stickers off the back window. Thanks, Tash. And lastly, I'm just disconnecting some oil lines because this radiator actually is an oil cooler, AC, and the coolant radiator in one.
In theory.
And then...
Yes! Radiator off. That is a big win. Look at that now.
Oh yeah, this is actually doable now. So I'm going to take the power steering pump off.
It's starting to look like this might actually be possible. As long as I keep a steady track of what goes where, colour coding, writing notes, and putting things in separate bags, it should be possible. So the last things to do are take off as many connectors and clips as I can find.
Oh yeah.
And finally crack off the fluid feed for the power steering pump.
Oh, that stinks.
So when the engine comes out, it doesn't cause us any problems. And after a bit of cleanup, this is what we're left with. The engine is almost ready to come out. Power steering pump, all the bolts are off that. And then it's just the engine mounts, the gearbox mounts and all the things underneath. I'm finding somewhere to strap it up so we can put it on the engine crane. But that'll be in the next video. So we've got loads done today. And as they say, it's got to get worse before it gets better, right? So hopefully that's true. If you've enjoyed this video, please click the like button, subscribe if you want to see more, and let me know what you think in the comments. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace out.
Is it just me or does that make a really nice sound? No, it's just me. All right.